A new British Columbia study suggests giving those experiencing homelessness a cash windfall could help to get them off the streets. The research team gave 50 homeless people in Vancouver $7,500 and then followed them for a year. The team says the money went to rent, food, housing, transit, furniture and clothes, and not alcohol or drugs, contrary to what some people believe. The research shows those who received the cash spent 99 fewer days homeless, increased their savings, and spent less time in shelters. For more on this, I'm joined live tonight by Ryan Dyer, a PhD researcher at the UBC Department of Psychology and lead author of this study. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us. Fascinating study here, experiment, and it certainly breaks a lot of stereotypes, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We found in our research that a lot of people do think that people who receive this amount of money who are experiencing homelessness might spend it on drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes. But we actually found that that's not the case, and that people who did actually receive this money put it to good use and bought things that they really need, like clothing, food, and rent.
And I think your findings also really speak to the distrust that a lot of people who think, if they do give money to those experiencing homelessness, it's just going to go to, as you just mentioned, drugs or alcohol. But that's clearly not always the case. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that people who are experiencing homelessness, it's a diverse population, just like other populations in society, and not everybody kind of fits the stereotype that you might think about when you're thinking of someone who is experiencing homelessness. And with that variety, there's a lot of people who can really take advantage of this opportunity to have this money and put it to good use and make really important changes in their lives in achieving stable housing and other things that they just really need, but just don't have the funds to get, like a car, for example.
And you are now pushing for policy changes that would support this new data.
That's right. The research is still kind of in early stages, so we think that there does need to be a replication of this study to really demonstrate how robust these findings are. But we do think that this is a really promising proof of concept that when you do give people cash and you trust them to make the best decisions for themselves, that it really can be an impactful and useful way of helping people to help themselves.
And what do you think it is about giving people experiencing homelessness this sum of money? Is it that empowers them, you think, to stand on their own feet and to make changes?
That's right. Yeah, I think part of it is that we're telling people that, hey, we believe in you. We trust you with this amount of money, and it allows people to make the best decisions for themselves.
And did you have a chance to speak to people on the streets? What did you learn from them as you carried out this experiment?
Yeah, we followed up with our participants who were in this study for over a year, and we met with them multiple times every few months. And we learned a lot from these people. Experiencing homelessness, again, is a variety of different experiences that people have. But I think that what you see is that these people who are experiencing homelessness are very resilient. And a lot of them are just trying to problem solve and figure out how to survive from one day to the next. And the challenge with homelessness is that one setback can lead into multiple other setbacks. And I think that the really helpful piece of the cash transfer is that if you have enough money to kind of overcome some of the major barriers that are in your life, it can allow you to then solve some of the smaller issues. So for a lot of our participants, they might not have a car, which makes it really difficult for them to go and get a stable job. So having a large sum of money all at once then unlocks the ability to have a car and then, to have a stable job.
Tell me why you and your team wanted to do this, and tell me if you were surprised by the findings.
So yeah, living in Vancouver, obviously homelessness can be a very visible sign that society doesn't seem to be functioning as it should. In a country that's as wealthy as Canada, it can be a little bit jarring to see that there's people living on the streets, and it just doesn't have to be that way. This is a choice that we make as a society to allow this to happen. So we were really motivated to try a different intervention to try and help people who are experiencing homelessness. So that's really the motivation for why we wanted to do this, and just to trust people and see what happens instead of stereotyping them and assuming that we know what's best for other people.
That is so powerful. Ryan Dwyer, PhD researcher at the UBC Department of Psychology and lead author of this study. We want to thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.